Við erum stödd hérna í Háskólanum á Akureyri og hér heilbrigðisvísindasvið og það verið að leggja áherslu á nýja námsleið innan deildarinnar og kannski bara ef þú segir okkur aðeins örlítið til að byrja með frá þeirri nýju námslínu.
Þannig að Háskólinn á Akureyri heilbrigðisdeild hans stofnar í ár eða núna í haust til nýra námslínu sem heitir Heilsugæsla í héraði og taka þar upp meðal annars eitt af mörgu kennslu í því sem heitir salutogenesis og í rauninni önnur hugmyndafræði eða sýn eða nálgun heldur en að minnsta kosti sú sem við flestir læknar erum vanir að nota. Ef við byrjum bara út frá því að það leitar til mín sem læknis einstaklingur með vanda, sjúkdóm og þá ég skólaður þannig í grunninn að eiga nálgast það og reyna það samkvæmt ákveðinni aðferðafræði, hugmyndafræði og í grunninn byggir það á vísindalegri nálgun og rannsóknum þar sem menn leitast við að greina sjúkdóm, orsakir sjúkdóms, hvað veldur sjúkdómum og þetta kallast meinafræði og þaðan að vinna sig þegar orsökin þekkt í besta falli að reyna þá að lækna sjúkdóminn út frá þeirri þekkingu og náttúrulega þegar enn betur tekst til að reyna að fyrirbyggja sama sjúkdóm hjá öðrum á grunni sama þekkingar. Þetta hinn hefðbundna nálgun sem ég hef lært og að ég held flestir læknar sem einu nálgunina eða aðalnálgunina minnsta kosti. Þessi þekking og þessi aðferðafræði hún hefur reynst okkur gríðarlega vel og á fullan rétt á sér enn í dag og ekki bara að hún rétt á sér heldur mjög nauðsynleg. Það með henni sem við höfum komist þangað sem við erum. Það hins vegar rétt að segja að hún kannski ekki síst til orðin og sprottin upp úr þá sjúkdómur sem við vorum þá að takast á við fyrir mörgum áratugum þess vegna og jafnvel lengri tíma sem voru kannski aðrir sjúkdómaflokkar heldur en megin þungin í dag og að koma. Var meira sýkingar, skortsjúkdómar, sultur, slys og hörmungar en að verða meira í dag annarar tegundar eins og sál, félags, tilfinninga, tengdur vandi og önnur tegund og náttúrulega bara langvinnir sjúkdómar. Númer 1, 2 og 3, það kannski. Og þessi nýja aðferðafræði að margra mati betur til þess fallin að vera hluti af vopnabúrinu til þess að mæta því. Og salutogenesis þá það og salutó stendur fyrir heilsa og genesis stendur fyrir uppruni. Latneskt og grískt orð hvort sig og þetta þá uppruni heilsunar og þarna spyrja menn hver orsök heilsunar, af hverju heldur maður heilsu, af hverju heldur þessi heilsu þegar margir aðrir kannski haldin ekki sem verður fyrir sama áreiti og svo framvegis og maður vinnur sig þá þaðan, nýtir það á meðan að ég sem læknir hef séð hlutina gríðarlega svart og hvít svari hver læknir svo fyrir sig þá það svo ákveðnar stéttir eins og ég sé það og skil það í dag hafa lengi unnið í anda þessari hugmyndafræði jafnvel með þá veikustu ef við tökum til dæmis þá sem að endurhæfa fólk iðjuþjálfa, sjúkraþjálfa væntanlega þá læknar sem þar eru þá erum við að tala að þar erum við gjarnan með fólk sem hefur orðið fyrir slysi eða fengið heilaáfall eða eitthvað annað sem veldur skerðingu sem við ýmist lítum á sem andlega, líkamlega eða blanda af hvoru tveggja. Endurhæfingarfólki tekst á við þetta með þessum þolendum á þann hátt að leita að því fríska, því nothæfa og nota það til þess að komast fram hjá hindruninni, skerðingunni og svo framvegis.
Bent Lindström sá eini sem prófessor í þessum fræðum en hann starfar í Þrándheimi í Noregi.
I was trained as a doctor, I'm a pediatrician, and at one stage I was working with children with genetic diseases, and I had a girl who came to my office, and she had a diagnosis, and she had an infection. I knew she was going to die. She knew she was going to die, and she came into my room, and I was trying to prepare to tell this story to her. And then I looked at her. She looked very ill, but her eyes were shining and her cheeks were blossoming. And she told me, Bengt, I'm in love. I want to marry. I want to have children. She was 17 years old and looked at that way on health. And I understood that the way I've been trained looking at health, mainly related to disease and death and risks and so on, is not a complete picture. So I started looking at something else, which eventually became quality of life, the good life, what is that all about? And then I started to direct health towards life instead of death and disease, and continued. And then I got interested in health promotion, and then I met with Aaron Antonovsky, who had the salutogenic idea, actually saying it's a question of where do you orientate your life, what are you actually aiming at, and it became a life orientation and health related to life and what can make a good life. And that's where modern health should be today, complementing the classical approach, working with risk and disease. Mm-hmm. So that's how it started.
And can doctors and maybe all of us, maybe also the public, learn this way, and should they do it? Why should they do it?
In fact, you could start doing it from early childhood, the way you interact with children as parents, and continue on like this. And as you asked the question, what's the use of it? When I look at outcomes like what is it related to quality of life, it's strongly related to quality of life. It's strongly related to good mental health. And if you have a chronic disease, you will do better with this, like diabetes, cardiovascular disease, cancer, what shall we say, mental disorders. Mm-hmm. You do better if you actually have learned this approach. And what we see from research is that this ability increases the older you get, the older, the wiser you get, the more you know about life, the better experience you have of life. And what you do with these experiences is actually what's important. Mm-hmm. If you face a disease, if you face something difficult in life, you have to think about what do I want to do with this. And actually what Antonovsky said is you have to reorientate your life towards life. And think about that, which is a bigger issue than mm-hmm. death and health and small things like that.
Do you think it's difficult for us, because also we have a long period of time where doctors, doctors themselves and us as patients, maybe when we go there, we sit down and we expect to have a diagnosis, have a white pill or surgery or something to solve our problems. How hard is it to change the way of thinking for both patients and doctors? And is it useful? And do you have to go and study a lot? What if there's a doctor watching this and says, hey, I want to know more?
What a good question. And you know that medicine and the health sector is so well established in one way, but they actually look at health as something related to disease and something related to risks. Of course that's important, you have to do that. But you can consider the other perspective also, and you become much more effective. And what I see from research, this would actually complement and make us better. But you need a different kind of dialogue, and you need different expectations also. Mm-hmm. And usually we have a very short-term perspective. When you work with medicine, somebody comes in, has an illness, 5 seconds you have the recipe in your hand, you're out. Mm-hmm. But in fact, if you actually all the time think about what does this have to do with my life as a whole? Mm-hmm. What does this have to do with my family as a whole? You can also use this on a community level, and even I suggested yesterday that we would create a salutogenic society out of Iceland. You have all the components to do a good, fantastic life with your culture and tradition and deeply rooted in existence.
I wish I could talk to you longer. It's very exciting. But what can, in the end, if doctors are interested now in learning more about this approach, what can they do?
Well, I would think, for instance, we think about this in Iceland. we should actually sit down. You know, you get the approach to start thinking about it, but it takes a long while before you integrate it into yourself and really understand the depth of it. This is not like happy and gay as the spring, sort of superficially, but this is something very deeply related to humanism and so on. You actually have to think on a deep level. And of course, if Iceland is interested, I would prepare to come here and train you, but you need sort of people who are interested and get together, and then you start doing it. I've done this in many countries nowadays, and I'm in charge of a global sort of system around this question. We have 15 research centers in the world working together with different issues like this. We publish, we have a website and so on, and we write small books. I have one here. It's in English, but we have this book it's just to be fun. I like to joke. It's called The Hitchhiker's Guide to Salutogenesis. And actually you can't hitchhike. It's sort of, you have to really get into it, but this was sort of, this is an easy introduction to the whole area. How you should think, what we know about it, what's the theory, and what are the outcomes, and how you should work with it in reality.
It's very exciting. Thank you for talking to us. I hope someone will pick up the ball. Yeah. Thank you.